So, you may have thought that the previous StarCraft Evolution complete games were a little bit confusing because we have Brood War units taking on StarCraft 2 units. I figured today, let us take it up a notch, as we've got ourselves a 2 versus 2. Spotted right here, in the far bottom left-hand corner of a map called, I think this is Nightscape? Probably should have checked that. Anyways, this is a 2 versus 2 map. Playing with the blue Terran SCVs, you know him, you love him. We have none other than GuMiho. GuMiho's ally in this particular match, playing with the Brood War Terran. By the way, to clarify, this is StarCraft 2 Terran, grouping up together with the StarCraft 1 Terran. This is a player who goes by the name of STC. Their opponents, playing both with Protoss, one of them with the Brood War pieces, the other one with the StarCraft 2. In the top left-hand corner, I honestly don't know who this is, but I think it's MC. And then we have his ally, who goes by the name of Mini. I am assuming since Mini is a Brood War Protoss, and MC, at least historically, is a StarCraft 2 Protoss, I think that's what it is, but we've got Team Terran taking on Team Protoss, which should make this a very interesting match, because one of them each is going to be playing Brood War, and the other one is going to be playing, well, with the StarCraft 2 unit instead. This is going to get very chaotic. I have casted some 2v2s and 3v3s and 4v4s in the past. It gets very messy very quickly, and if you add on top of that a load of variety as well when it comes to the units, I can imagine that this is going to be one of the messiest videos I will upload this entire year. Anyways, Team Terran sending their units towards the other side of the map just to do a little bit of scouting. We already did see that as well from Team Protoss, as they did send an early game worker. Apparently the Brood War guys have been tasked with scouting. Not entirely sure what that says. Maybe their workers are less significant? Maybe the StarCraft 2 guys are bullying the Brood War pros? Hard to say, really. Oh my god, this production tab is also so weird, because we have a Cybercore and a Cybercore, but they're different Cybercores, you know? Like, one of them will allow you to improve your Dragoon ranged, and then the other one will allow you to get warp gates, which is obviously not something that is available for Brood War. And Dragoons, I mean, they have been replaced by Stalkers in StarCraft 2, so it all gets very confusing. But I guess, you know, if push comes to shove, if things get really weird, we can just shout about the pretty pictures and, you know, get excited about stuff. There you go. That is my ultimate goal, I guess. Maybe I can just commentate in action sounds alone if this game does get very exciting. I'll just be what's going on? Oh, I mean, you know, that's my backup plan. If this whole video turns out to be a bit of a disaster, that is my backup plan. Alrighty, it's gonna be our Brood War Terran. Yes, that will be scouting apparently with the barracks, because we have already been... Okay, we've already been transitioning towards Terran mech. So we have one factory right now going into a siege tank, the other one producing a bunch of vultures. Vulture upgrade also coming up in the machine shop. Reaper does get pushed away. There is a proxy in the meantime on the other side of the map that Team Protoss is desperately trying to deny getting scouted. There's a robo facility here, so I guess the idea is that you can... I don't know whose this is. Is that a Brood War probe? Yeah, it is. So I guess we're going to be making a shuttle? I'm also making the assumption, by the way, that you can technically lift up, for example, Reavers in a StarCraft 2 Prism? I'm assuming that would work in 2v2. I don't really know exactly what would happen if our StarCraft 2 Terran decided to land a barracks or a factory or whatever over here at the machine shop. I would imagine nothing happens. I would imagine it just gets very weird and very confusing, but... Anyways, double machine shop right now on the back of it. We have a Cyclone together with a classic siege tank. Another proxy going up on the other side of the map, as... I've actually just now realized our light blue, our teal Protoss player here, apparently shows up as a... pale green on the minimap. Just to make things extra confusing. This is of course a custom mod, and I can imagine that is not supposed to be the case. That's a very green looking blue on the minimap. I'm not hallucinating, right? Nah, that's definitely more green than blue. Anyways, Team Protoss. They've made their way towards the other side of the map. Siege tanks do need to get into position. These things don't mess around. We have some spider mines going up as well. Okay, we may actually need to research. Yeah, siege mode is not yet done researching. That's so funny. We have some units waiting as well on the perimeter. There is siege mode done. So the siege tank is going to be able to get into position eventually. Blink is also finished though. And, well, our Protoss player, our StarCraft 2 Protoss player, is trying its very best to He's trying his very best to try and just get as much damage done as possible. Blinks on top of the Cyclone, gets a bunch of work done. But ultimately, I think a lot of these units will get cleaned up. Yeah, that Spider Mine behind the mineral wall also helping out quite a bit. Saving the tank would be amazing. Looks like StarCraft 2 SCVs as well as StarCraft 1 SCVs. Embrace that siege tank, and ultimately it will indeed stay alive. We had a lot of units over here in the corner, mostly because apparently Team Protoss, there's all of a sudden there's a Reaver. Team Protoss also decided to go for a cheeky little drop here in the back. Barracks in the meantime, that one that we saw scouting earlier, has landed inside of the opponent's main. Ultimately though, yeah, I think this is okay for Team Terran. Even though it did get very messy, it looks like very few workers were lost. The aggression is not, however, over yet. But now we have siege tanks working side by side. Look how weird that is. Aw, it's kind of cute, really. But we have a StarCraft 2 siege tank right next to a StarCraft 1 siege tank. Marines working together as well. Brute War Marines together with SC2 Marines to gun down an observer. Okay. Now, shuttle drop not gonna continue onwards. Ooh. Well, that is cursed looking, isn't it? A flying engineering bay. Of course, that's something you can do in StarCraft Brute War. But in StarCraft 2, the engineering bay has lost the ability to fly. Blinks into the main base. Okay, tries to go after one of those tanks. We'll be able to get it, but I think MC might be going a little bit too deep here. Okay, engineering bay block right here by GuMiho, trying to make sure that the Stalker player will be forced to use the blink. Well, he will be happy to use the blink, but these units are ultimately gonna run out, yeah. There's no way that they're gonna be able to get out, but they are getting a lot of damage in. Golden minerals, by the way, acquired here as well by our Terran players. Of course, in 2v2 and in team games in general, you can share resources. So if your ally is running low, you can give them a little bit of an economical boost, which is always nice. Mini, by the way, is expanding on the right side of the map, taking all of these vertical bases. Problem here is that his ally is effectively just playing a one base all in. He can expand behind it. There are these golden minerals too, and all of those are accessible. But this entire game so far, our Protoss player in green as well as blue is making... yeah, it's just really making Stalkers off of one base, which is quite suboptimal to say the least. So I think as long as the Terran players here realize that that is what's going on, and at this point they seem to have had vision of that side of the map, as long as they realize roughly what's happening, I don't think they should really be too aggressive. I think they can just sit back and have a grand old time. Macro up slowly but surely, try to go for a maxed out army, because you can tell right here that the light blue Protoss, as far as supply goes, is not looking very healthy here at all. Goes into a Stargate now. Fair enough. Nexus, of course, is building, but it's going to be a while. I actually think he should have taken the base over here at the golden minerals, or maybe even double expand. Yeah, because these Stalkers and these Dragoons are not going to be able to achieve much. When two players are making siege tanks, life gets very messy. Instead, he's going to be your classic team game player and transition towards Skytools. One experience that I have had while playing team games in StarCraft 2 in particular is you always have that one guy in your team, be it in 2v2, 3v3, or 4v4, you always have a guy in your team that's just making a bunch of Void Rays. Ooh. The Brood War scan comes in and reveals exactly what's happening. You would love to see what's going to be coming out of the Stargate, but it looks like that vision will not be allowed. Is that a StarCraft 1 scan and a StarCraft 2 scan? Did they just, yeah, decide to scan together? The Terrans that scan together stay together, right? I think that's how the age-old adage goes. As we do have a storm drop coming across right now. Alright, Mini is going to try and see if he can maybe close that economical gap to the opponents. Banshee's still trying to get some work in. These storms are going to have to be good, though. Where did the prisms go? Or the shuttles, rather. Okay. Terrans have been securing their side of the map quite comfortably. Problem is, man, there is so much. Yeah, so much for base defense here for the Terrans. Okay, we're going to try and just YOLO in. There's Zealots here, too. Oh, he actually did the grand switcheroo. Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay. That is absolutely shut down. Loses two shuttles, two speed shuttles, that is. Zealots and Templar alike. Absolute disaster so far here for our Protoss players. Now we're gonna get our vulture production up and running here too. And as soon as the base is properly secured with like a row of mines all around it, I don't think you can really do anything anymore with these ground Protoss units. You're gonna have to try and play the macro game. Yeah, Team Protoss has already figured that out though. Chidarian Amulet researching. We have another Nexus here building on the right side of the map at the bottom. Golden Mineral Line will be acquired here as well in just a moment. Yeah, MC is gonna need it. So MC has decided to go into Mass Phoenix production. Maybe a bit of a curious choice, but these units, at least historically, have always been amazing in team games. Especially when the opponent is going for a more expensive but smaller army. So a lot of Siege Tank or Terran Mech, for example, a lot of Siege Tanks can be lifted up quite nicely. There are quite a few Marines in the mix, and Thors cannot be lifted. We have a Fleet Beacon on the back of this too, so maybe a Mothership would be okay. Maybe Carriers, maybe Tempest. Not a terrible choice. In the meantime, the science facility over here is researching the EMP upgrade. We are indeed going to be going into the science vessels. Science hurts! I think that's what they say, right? Something like that, anyways. Okay. Now, there will have to be a moment where our Terrans decide to go across the map. And you can tell that so far the Terrans have a lot of supply, yes, but they don't really have an overwhelming army. Plus, even though MC was stuck on one base for a long time, Mini has had a phenomenal economy for basically the entire game so far. So, benches are running out of energy soon. This one has, well, still about a 20-second or so remaining on that upgrade, so not bad. Observer is coming. It's, by the way, researched here by his ally, which is kind of funny. But I'm assuming the detection here should work regardless. Little observer going around. Loses so much. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Mini supply count is good. So what exactly is that supply made up of? Well, it's mostly just Dragoons here, together with a bunch of... Oh my god, we're gonna try and do it again! Mass drop goes into that pocket base here. My god, there are so many missile turrets set up. The Zealot drop... Okay, I guess at least the majority of them unload, but... that is by no means worth it, is it? I think what he's trying to do, though, is just buy time right here for his ally. Just try and get it going. There is a Prism as well with a bunch of Templar. Okay, there we go. Storming a load of Ravens. That is a lot of Ravens, by the way. Interesting choice here by GuMiho to go Mass Raven. Yeah. So there are 10 Marines. And even though he did make quite a few of these bio troops, he really is just playing full-on Terran Mech. It's Terran Mech from both Terran players, by the way, which is pretty neat. Tempest indeed coming up right now for MC. I think it's a great choice, because if you are going up against Terran Mech, yes, it's very powerful in a straight-up fight, but it can be quite difficult for them to actually get a good engagement going. So I think going Mass Tempest is not a terrible choice, because you can maybe try and poke away at those Terran units from a bit of a distance. Okay. The Terrans, though, are starting to make a bit of a move. Missile turrets are being set up. We have a load of spider mines all around the map, too. Mini's economy has been mostly unhindered. I would have loved to see a move over in that direction. Okay, we do see the auto turrets dropping down. A lot of the Phoenixes take a beating. There's a storm coming in. Lovely play right here by Mini. Trying to slow this down to the best of his abilities. But it looks to me that the Protoss army is going to be pushed back. Terran seems to be coming across the map right now. We are just a minute or two away from the StarCraft 2 Protoss units hitting a big power spike. You do really need quite a few of those Tempests before they become useful. But I think the Terrans have figured that out brilliantly, even though the Brood War Terran here is not maxed out, not even remotely close. Apparently the army is good enough to start making a bit of a move. There are still a load of anti-air units here available as well for GuMiho. Man, those storms are amazing though, dealing so much damage. Slowing this down to the best of his abilities. Now the siege tanks in red also do move across. We have a missile turret coming up. Yeah, the Viking count here is really nice. The fact that there's still 11 Vikings really does make the game significantly easier. We have a bunch of Goliaths as well on the ground, helped together by Big Daddy Thor. Oh, yeah. The storms are nice, but yeah, the Templar are very far forward. They end up getting blasted. with the rest of that entire Brood War Protoss ball. As soon as all of the siege tanks sieged up, life became a bit of a disaster. Look at that. We have one of those protection abilities from the science vessel used on the Thor. And ultimately, that combined with all of the other aggression here from the Terrans, it is indeed allowing the Terran players to obtain the victory. Considering we had Terrans going up against Protoss, I think that was relatively doable, right? I would certainly love to see more team games, yeah. I think it would get very confusing if we get like a Brood War Zerg together with a StarCraft 2 Protoss going up against like a Brood War Terran and then a StarCraft 2 Zerg, right? Like that would make the game very messy. Yeah, like this, it's really fun to see the 1998 units work together with the 2024 ones. That was really sick. If you liked watching this video, please hit the like button down below. If enough people like it, I can definitely try to get my hands on some more of these games. And if you really liked it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. Today, I also want to give a special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for directly supporting my channel. For now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I hope to see you once again very soon for another video.